it's nice to be back home and coming off a hard-fought game at Northwestern. You always feel fortunate when you walk out of there with a win. I thought we did a lot of very good things. I thought everybody played pretty solid, and it was a night that was started off with some challenges with David being sick and not well, and Keaton just from the from the bus ride, getting his hip dislocated a little bit or out of socket, and for someone who has that same problem, I know how painful that is. And he was out on the way back, so he's fine. He's fighting that, but he played a great second half. I thought Kylan was tremendous for us, solving problems, but did a lot of nice things. And now it's on to the next, and it's a very, very good Minnesota team. Nico's doing a tremendous job. They got one of the better leading scorers in the league, and the Tyson kid. A guy that's old. I think they're one of the top 35 oldest teams in the country. So they've done a nice job of blending experience and finding that through the portal and some guys back. But a team that's very, very good offensively. They get to the foul line at a high rate. They're a team that thrives on cutting, finding layups, and not real big, but they've got an undersized 5-man who's a kind of a stretch 4 that is a really good player, and they do a nice job. So we'll have to be on our P's and Q's and at our best to hopefully find a way to get it done tomorrow.
Is David feeling better? And I guess with Keaton, is that anything you expect to linger, or is it something that concerns you or not?
We got to get him right on our travel, in terms of can't sit sideways on buses and handle that. I don't expect it to be an issue. So Merck will be in practice today, and was just drained and didn't have much energy. But the flu stuff, the throwing up and diarrhea has subsided, so that's a good thing. And of course, our people do such a great job of keeping them hydrated and keeping their weight up. So, we're expecting him to be in practice today.
Kylan has kind of become the ultimate glue guy, and just talk about how important all those different things that he does, how important that is to your team.
Yeah, it's invaluable. There's no price tag you can put on it. There's no, he just solves problems, and his ability to guard multiple guys is special. There's not a lot of those guys and out there, and have that physical strength and quickness and determination, and he's comforting for a coach.
As the flu, is anyone else dealing with the same thing David dealt with? Or?
Not yet. How dare you ask that question?
There's some wood right there.
That gets you cut off. Talking about that, jeez. No, we knock on wood.
I do want to ask one more about Kylan. Like, how do you, 123 games of college basketball, how do you feel that possession, game to game when he's on the floor?
It's every day in practice. He's learned how to practice. He's learned how to manipulate situations. I think that the one guy that was we've had two that have been really good at it. Trent understood every situation, every action that was coming. They had seen it all. Coleman was another one. Coleman just manipulated and understood, and Bam's right there. He's got he knows every action. He's not caught by surprise. We see an action and we in practice, and he goes, yeah, so and so ran this, and it's just every single day in practice. So passing that knowledge on to young people and the younger guys and the newer guys is very important, and experience is king, so to speak. It truly is with him.
Since it's kind of become a trend the last couple games, could you explain the difference between an appeal and a challenge?
Not really. Yeah, I mean, you got the ability to appeal it. I think it's really complicated. No, to be honest. I mean, I've just talked to the commissioner of officials. I didn't understand the hook and hold very well. I understood the intent of that rule was basically, put in for rebounding and underneath the basket and all of those. I get the consistency with which they called it. We asked for an appeal to be called, on Ben. To me, I thought there had to be a pull down part of that component. I was wrong in the hook and hold, so I appealed it, and I'm still charged a timeout if it goes the other way. But no, to me it's about as clear as mud, and I'll use appeals when necessary. But it's the hook and hold is another story. But it was called.
Does Minnesota have a certain identity? A few things that you have to deal with to beat them?
Yeah, they're very, very good in terms of their components, their ability to shoot it, their ability to draw fouls. They're sneaky good in transition. The Tyson kid is a guy that gets to the line a lot. They've got very, very good drivers of the basketball from their fours, the fives. They can put pressure on you that way. It's going to be 5 out. There's going to be a lot of cutting. I think Nico's always been known for really good offense, and this team is in running good offense. It's a kind of I'm going to say a Princeton-like, but it's not. But a lot of read and react commitments to it and reads to it. So yeah, they're there's a reason they're having the successes they're having.
And they're playing 7 guys basically. They have 4 with season-ending injuries. Do you try to leverage that in any way with guys that are playing heavy minutes?
No, they've figured out how to play with 7, and they've gotten really, really good because of their role identification with those 7 guys. And I think once you start trying to, well, we're going to attack this guy or we're going to attack that guy, it usually backfires on you. We're going to play the way they play. We need to play. They're going to mix up defenses. They'll throw a little zone at you, maybe to protect or change the pace of a game. It only takes 5 on the court at one time, and the 7 they're playing are all very productive. So, I love the fact they've got role identification, and you've got to get some guys that in an overtime game the other night, both a couple of them played 45 minutes. Durkin and Tyson both played 45 minutes. So they're obviously in great shape, and we've got to attack the way we attack and not worry about their who's playing for them and who's not.
I don't know if you put TJ in a similar category if you considered him a guard, but for Kylan to be able to go from guard to forward to center, does that remind you of anyone you've had in your past? I mean, Coleman was a big who could do a little bit of it, but I don't remember a lot of guards here who have done that.
Yeah, it takes a special person with strength. Probably DeMonte was probably the closest guy that we had that had this strength to physically guard some bigger guys, and DeMonte had tremendous lower leg strength, and as does Bam. Bam's got better quickness and probably a better perimeter defender, but the versatility of those 2 guys is probably who comes to mind the most.
Let me ask you this, since having been able to change the transfer portal window to 2 weeks after the championship game, what are your thoughts on that?
Great. The way it should be. I think we're starting to maybe listen to coaches. I think that not to I know Matt Painter's been on the oversight committee was on the oversight committee for years, and I know that's something that maybe for the last three years that we've all been clamoring for, to try to get that right, try to get it the right length of time, and it just took us a while to get there, because we start to listen to coaches. It's going to make for a very, 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 very busy spring. April, May, and June will become, and early June will become crazy as always. But that's the right thing to do with the calendar.
Not to get ahead of anything, but you got these 2 home games and then Purdue, top 5 team on the road. How important is this stretch of games for the Big Ten race and seeding and all that kind of stuff?
I have no idea. Minnesota. Minnesota's the next one. This is one that's been circled on the calendar. It's the next one up, and you start worrying about anything beyond that one, and you'll trick yourself and get beat. So it's just what we do is one day at a time. It's Friday before the Minnesota game, and we're going to try to get better today and keep it that simple.
I think maybe with Flag last year, you said if you were there, you'd be trying to figure out some way to keep him in college another year. Is that something you think about when you have guys that might be pro ready, or are you kind of, when they want to go, let them go?
It's easy when he's not yours.
Right.
It's just guys that are great for the game, and we're in a different time, obviously, because of there's everything in the NBA is slotted, and obviously the off-court stuff, you have no idea at the NBA level how much they can make and what they are making, but it's always, my thought's always been, it's you go when the business side's right, and the physical and the mental side are right, and so I don't worry too much about that. I'm worried about Minnesota.
It's big picture. You have so many guys who can go off on one night versus another. How do you get buy-in from everybody else to be okay with it not being there? Like, how do you cultivate that over the years?
Winning's trumps all. It doesn't matter. You work to play the game to win it, and all the other stuff will take care of itself. It doesn't matter, what your numbers are. I think right now we're in a unique spot. The top 10 scorers in the league aren't on the top 5 teams. It's winning, and it's balance, and it's having, you go to the next level, you're gonna play a role if you're that fortunate. I don't determine, who gets to the next level. Those guys get paid a lot of money, but it's just about, finding your role and enjoying the moment of winning and what that takes and what that looks like, and that's the stuff you remember when you're 45 years old, and coming back to reunion is all the winning, what that looks like.
Thanks.
Thanks.